Yes, you are back with Don Gino. Don Getley, Gino Fronti here on your weekly Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance show brought to you by Real Estate Radio Network. And we are excited. We have just such a great speaker today. Hopefully you've been listening because she's changed my life. This is somebody I've known my whole life. I've traveled with. She's a great friend, a family friend. She rocks the world with Wendy Offshack with Fresh Start by Design. And we're talking about personal transformation.
Exactly.
And that's what we're all about on this show, is helping you. And we brought the best here. And and listen up, because she's going to go through a really important segment here that's going to, I really believe, change your life. When I listened to her talk in this regard, it made me change my philosophy on where I want my year to go. And I know you're speaking on February 4th. You're going to have an engagement to share this thought process with others and help others.
Yeah, the name of the seminar that I'm giving is It's Your Turn, 7 Easy Steps to Getting Your Life Back in Control. And it's from my heart, because I've had times where, you know, life is not going so well, and how you pull it all back together, and that's what I do. So, for instance, the lady that I was talking about before we went to break, you know, once we get a reality check, and everything comes back to the way, okay, well, let's find out what our priorities, and we start going forward. They've now said, okay, these decisions aren't fun, but we have to make them in order to go forward in our life. And then what I do is I bring them into their dreams. And some people have a really hard time dreaming these days because they're so overwhelmed, just like that whole alligator syndrome that I was talking to you about. Their dreams have been squashed, and they forgot what they really were.
Well, and sometimes that happens young in life, you know. My wife and I talk about this a lot, you know, and she says, well, how did you end up being in mortgages, and what did you really want to be? I said, well, I wanted to be a marine biologist. And she goes, well, how did you end up doing mortgages if you wanted to be a marine biologist?
I'm sorry
Exactly.
Because I want to help people.
No, and it's kind of funny because at the end of the day, I had an opportunity when I was, I don't know, 9 to go to a magnet school to study marine biology. It was way out of town. My parents would have had to have moved their entire life, business, everything, for me to be able to do that one thing, and it didn't work out.
Right.
So you stop dreaming about that, and then maybe you don't find direction. So, you know, people are always looking for direction.
Right.
But it's not too late.
It isn't too late, and losing your dreams from wherever you go is really tough for anyone, and so getting them back is really one of my priorities, is to help people start to feel again, help people go back to that point where they were dreaming and life was exciting. Because when you start to dream and when you start to think about what's possible, you go from, oh my God, there's no way out, to, oh my God, this is what's possible. And all of a sudden, your excitement comes back, your enthusiasm, everything in your life changes when you have hope again. And everything in your life changes when you have dreams and you're moving in that direction. And that's the key.
Well, as you go into the dream segment, I love that because it's very important, because we all kind of, like you said, stop dreaming.
Exactly.
But what I do like, and I want to clarify for this, because a lot of times you're like, oh, it's one of those again, one of those, oh, you know, what do they call it, The Secret or whatever else, which I'm not against.
No.
I believe in visualizing. But you started first off with a reality check, which is what I like. There's a big difference between just dream. I'm going to dream and become this. Not always. But what you do is you get a reality check. Start from
So you got to know where you're starting from is the key.
Right.
And you know, I talk about dreams, and that sounds kind of woo-woo, but it's not. It's about focus. A dream is focus.
Yeah, I love that.
And that's really what you're looking at, is if you have a target that you're heading towards, you call it anything that you want. You can call it your dreams. You can call it your goals. You can call it, you know, anything in life. If you have a target that you're aiming for, it's a lot easier to get there when you know where the heck you're going.
Well, especially if it's something you like.
Oh, yeah.
Well, at least
And
you
it
can
gives you
plan the
juice.
things in between. You know, there's steps in between to get to that target, but if you don't have a target, you can't plan for the steps. And Don, you love to say this, no plan?
You fail.
Oh, she got it.
Yeah. If you, what do they say? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Right, exactly.
Don's like,
I'm like, hey, that's not the way I say it.
Exactly.
And Wendy got it right.
I do. I know it totally.
If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
And
without a
so,
doubt.
you know, with the questions that I learned to ask over those 30 years of dealing with clients, I allow them to regain focus. And so I don't have to call it dreams to sound woo. I regain focus, and that's what's really smart, because that way they've now accepted full responsibility for their life. They've regained their focus, and they just catapult. I mean, your whole life changes. Your relationships change. Your kids change. Your whole world happens to change when you're excited about it. Everything is different.
Okay, before I forget, because I want to make sure you get Wendy Offshack's information regarding a fresh start, because everybody's looking for a fresh start this year. I don't care what level you are at, financially, personally, or business-wise, everybody wants a fresh start. Every year they're excited about changing things. Everybody wants to change things, so make sure you reach out to us and text. Don and
Gino to 72727.
Thank you, Gino.
No, that's okay. So
Yeah.
text Don and Gino to 72727. As you can see, we're new to text.
Yeah. And we'll send you Wendy's information so that you can get a free consultation. Wendy's offering to our listeners, to you, a free consultation just to see if it makes sense for you, because I got a feeling once you speak with Wendy, as I have, like I said, I have seen her in action. This is not just fluff. This is somebody who's been there, done that, and lived it.
It's not my first rodeo by any stretch of the imagination. Woohoo!
And she's fun and cool, and you're just going to enjoy. I mean, the conversation with her is enlightening just to talk to Wendy. I love talking to you, Wendy. So make sure, 72727, type in, text Don and Gino.
Perfect.
And we'll get you the info.
Awesome. You know, through my coaching program, once again, I go back to, and this is the most important part, is being able to open people up, because when they've forgotten so long ago, getting back there sometimes is really tough. And so we take them through a step-by-step process that, question, answer, and I go where we're going based on what they tell me. And that's what's the fun part. And when I see people, all of a sudden I tell them something and they tell me something, and I get an answer back, and all of a sudden they kind of sit back in their chair and they go, wow, oh my God, I forgot about that. And their face just lights up. And
Find out what they're really passionate about.
Absolutely.
Get their passion back.
It's amazing. I talked to a guy a while back, and he was a programmer, a computer programmer, and I asked him, I said, so, what do you do for fun? And he said, I don't have fun.
I don't have fun.
I don't have fun. And he
There
says,
is no fun.
I mean, the poor man, he had gone through a divorce, and he was actually still living with his ex-wife because neither one of them could afford, and so his life was miserable.
So there's no dreams. That's a nightmare.
Yeah, he was living a nightmare. And what I did very, very shortly is I took him to a place that he hadn't been since he was in college. And I asked him, I said, and he told me something, and he had talked in a very monotone voice, and by the time I got to him, he started telling me about this thing he did in college, and he started to wake up, and he started to get enthusiastic, and I said, well, tell me about that, and where would that go? And he said, I'm going to take it to Spain. And by the time we were done, I had him living in Spain, seeing what it was all about, and going forward. And that, to me, and he said, Wendy, people have been telling me my whole life that I could do anything. You're the first person that's ever been able to show me what's possible.
And that's a key point.
Yeah,
Very nice. I mean,
exactly.
Sometimes it's easier on the outside looking in by you asking the questions and breaking it down for them. It's always breaking things down. Just as when you're doing planning, you have to break things down. So by asking the right questions through all your experience and stuff, you're able to bring out what's really where his passions are,
exactly,
and what's important to him. And then I know, and we only have a couple minutes left, Wendy.
Okay.
We're going to have to bring you back on the show to go in more in depth in those steps, because I know there's specific steps that you can help our listeners and help you out there change your life this year. And you just need somebody else to help you with that. And I know, Wendy, I know you can do a great job of that.
Thank you.
So make sure you text 72727 Don and Gino, and we'll send you Wendy's information. And you can always reach out to us at 855-DON-GINO. That's 855-DON-GINO.
And don't forget Wendy's event on the 4th, February 4th. And if you want to check out the details for the event on your website.
Yeah, Fresh Start by Design, right?
.com.
Okay, freshstartbydesign.com. It's pretty simple.
We did that in a little tag team effort there.
And my phone number is, if you wish to speak with me, is 877-55-FRESH. That's 877-55-FRESH.
Okay, I'm hearing a lot of fresh stuff on this show.
Oh, my God. It's so fun to be fresh.
Maybe that's because the AC's on.
No doubt about it. So, Wendy, thank you for joining us here today. My good friend, I absolutely adore you and love you. Always have. You and your entire family. And she does a great job. And make sure you reach out to us. And make sure you reach out to us, because rates are incredibly low. I know I'm plugging us, but we would feel bad if we didn't help you take advantage of the lowest rates ever. We're talking incredible low rates, refinance, buy. Call us at 855-DON-GINO. And make sure you tune in every week. That's right, every Thursday at 1 p.m. where we can give you sound advice through our experience and great guests like Wendy Offshack here with Fresh Start by Design, Neil Weichel last week. Gino, love working with you, buddy.
Me too, man. And we got to get out of here before we get our fingers cut off.
That's right. So make sure you
Thank you
tune
so
in
much.
every week, Thursday. Thanks again, Wendy. And we look forward to being back with you next week on the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.